Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a brand new video and something quite different. I'm going to be going through my 10 essentials for any rugby player's kit bag, and this is a different video that I thought could be useful to you guys. Now if you're new to the channel, my name's Hassan and I make videos on YouTube to help rugby players improve in their knowledge of the game but also their skill set to hopefully allow them to reach a higher level of rugby. And if you are new and this is the first time you're seeing me on your screen, be sure to subscribe to the channel to be notified when I upload, and do leave a like on this video if you found it useful and you enjoyed the video. So with that being said guys, I'm just going to go through all these different things that I have collected for you today, and I'm going to show to you and explain to you why I think they're important, and maybe you should consider, you know, either buying these items or making sure you have them in your kit bag for your next rugby game or your next rugby training session. So let's get straight into it. So the first item that I have is a resistance band. Now, why is a resistance band important? A resistance band is really important because you can use it for a multiple of different things. Let's say for example you're rocking up to game day and you're in the change rooms just about to go out on the pitch to do your warm-up. A resistance band is really useful as you can warm up certain areas that you may need a bit more attention. So let's say you've got like a bit of a sore shoulder and you know it needs a bit more attention, you can do some stretches with the band. Or if you want to stretch out your legs or just generally improve your, you know, the looseness of your muscles, you want to improve that and make sure you're not feeling tight and stiff, then you can do that with the resistance band. And I think it's just a very useful tool to have in your kit bag because it's so versatile and they're very cheap as well. I mean, this one that I have here is from a company called My Protein, but you can pick them up on Amazon for like, you know, £5 to £10, nothing too expensive, and yeah, very useful, and I definitely recommend. And the good thing with this is you can use this anywhere. You can use this at home or at a game or during training, and it's a very useful tool. So I definitely recommend having one of these in your kit bag. The next item that I have is a gum shield. Now obviously a gum shield isn't mandatory by any sense, but I think it's very important to make sure that you have a well molded, well fitted gum shield. And this is important because you don't want to feel any discomfort whilst wearing it, but you also want to have the confidence of knowing that, you know, your teeth are going to be in a very much a protected state when you have this in your mouth. Now the one that I use is from a company called OPRO, and basically what you do is you can put it into a pot of hot water and then you can mold it and make sure it fits your teeth to, you know, your personal layout within your mouth. Yeah, I just recommend you know, taking the time out of your day to make sure that it's molded and fitted well so it doesn't give you any discomfort. Another thing as well is maybe look to have 2 gum shields. You know, they're not that expensive depending on which one you go for, but I'd say having an extra one or a spare one just in case you forget yours is very important, because the worst thing you can do is, you know, turn up to game day and not have your gum shield, and it can affect your whole confidence levels and also your mindset approaching a game. So yeah, make sure you have not only a gum shield, but make sure you have a well-fitted gum shield in your kit bag. Next item I have is tape. Now inside here I have a 6-pack of EAB tape. They come in rolls like this. I'll show you. You can get them in white or you can get them in black. Now these are awesome because, you know, depending on whether you're going for an injury or you just want a bit more support in certain regions, like me personally for example, I like to tape my ears and I also like to tape my wrists most commonly. But if, you know, you have got a little injury or like a little, you know, minor, you know, niggle around your body and you just want to make sure that you feel secure and somewhat protected, that's the job of the tape. And more times than not, it's just to give you a bit more confidence over than anything else. But I do know some teams have physios, or, you know, you might have a team collection of tape that the players can use, but I think it's good just to have your own. I mean, this is a box of 6, but you can buy them individually as rolls, but you can also bulk buy them depending on your circumstances. But yeah, I think it's really good just to have your own, and it's really important for protecting the wrists, the ankles and the ears, and also other areas around your body. So yeah, I definitely recommend picking up a box of these. They're relatively cheap, not too expensive. This one that I have here is from a brand called Sport Tape, and I paid about £15 for 6 rolls of tape, which isn't too expensive for what it is. And to be fair, one of these would last you easily half a season, if not more, depending on how much tape you use. But I definitely recommend it, especially if you're someone, you know, if you're a flanker or a second row and you're someone who's jumping in line outs. This tape is very important as well, as you can tape your line out lifting blocks. So it's definitely something to consider having your own of. Like I said, some teams do have it available for their players, but not every team does. So just having your own is very useful, and you never know, you might need to use some in training. So by having your own, it just gives you that extra sense of security, and you know, you can use it when you need it. Next, I have headphones. Now, headphones are really useful, especially for when, you know, it's game day and you want to get in the zone. Depending on the situation, let's say, you know, you're traveling to an away game and you're on the coach, you can put your headphones in, listen to some music, listen to a podcast, whatever you like to listen to get in the mood, to either hype yourself up or to, you know, keep you relaxed. They're very important and very useful to have in your bag. You know, some players like the wired ones, you can go for the Bluetooth ones as well. Just depends on what you want, but I definitely recommend having some form of headphone in your bag, just to, you know, use when you feel like you need them. And yeah, I know a lot of players like to have music, or they like to listen to something when they're traveling or when they're in the changing room before warm up or before the big game's about to start, just to, you know, give you that extra edge of making sure that you can either stay calm or, you know, hype yourself up before kickoff. So yeah, definitely look at getting a good pair of headphones for yourself. And then next, I have electrolytes. Now, electrolytes are very, very useful, and I think also very underrated and underlooked. If you're a player who, you know, is training very often, and, you know, you're playing games, and let's say, for example, you are playing rugby in a very warm environment where you're going to be sweating a lot, and, you know, there's a chance of you getting dehydrated, I think electrolytes play a really good role in not only recovery, but also making sure you can perform to the highest level. Now, I'm sure we've all experienced it either during or after a rugby game where, you know, you're experiencing cramping, and that's due to the fact that, you know, your body hasn't got enough water, and, you know, you're a little bit dehydrated, especially in the muscle groups that are giving you pain and discomfort. So by, you know, consuming some electrolytes, it's very useful and very handy. It just, you know, keeps your body topped up with all the hydration it needs. And yeah, the ones I have here are a 3-in-1. It has the electrolytes, it gives you the hydration, and it also contains some vitamins, which is very useful. You know, I would recommend taking these daily just to, you know, keep yourself hydrated, and when you do get to game day, you're not going to be dehydrated or experiencing any cramps of such sort. So yeah, really look at investing in some electrolytes. The ones I have here are just like tablets where, you know, you have a glass of water and then you drop the tablet in and then it dissolves. But I know you can also look to invest in like the electrolyte powders or the sachets, which are also useful. It just depends down to, like, you know, personal preference on what you'd prefer. But yeah, definitely look at getting some electrolytes to enhance your performance on the pitch. And the next thing I have here is just some medicine. These are cold and flu capsules, but that's just because I've been ill recently. But you know, for you, it might be that you want to have some ibuprofen or some paracetamol or some painkillers, because, you know, sometimes before going into a game or during the game, you might, you know, be under the weather, or you might be injured and you want a bit of medical relief. And sometimes, you know, in the first aid kit bag that your team has, it may not be in there, so it's always good just to have some for yourself. Yeah, it's more of a case of having it for yourself rather than having to, you know, ask your teammates, or, you know, not having it readily available for when you need it most. Definitely consider buying some just to have in case. It's not like you want to be using this stuff, but when you do need it, you'll have it there on deck, and, you know, it's one less thing to worry about, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely get down to your local pharmacy, get the medicine or the tablets or the pills or whatever it is you need. Just make sure you have it in your bag for when you do need it on the pitch or after a training session or after an injury. Just make sure you have it. And then the next thing I have is a form of pre-workout. Now, this one here is from My Protein. You know, this is what you have with water. You mix it together, and it's really good in giving you an energy boost. If I'm going to have this, I'm going to have it just before my team warms up to give me a nice energy boost. Yeah, I know some players like to have pre-workout before a game, and others like to, you know, consume energy drinks like this, a White Monster, which is very popular. Both are good as it's a source of caffeine, and I'd recommend you know, having some form of caffeine in your kit bag just to give you that extra boost. Obviously, not everyone's going to respond well to caffeine, but if you know you do and you are a fan of it, be sure to, you know, make sure you have it in your kit bag so you can take advantage, and of course, you know, make sure you're energized on the field. I would recommend, you know, experimenting to see what you prefer. You know, not everyone's going to be a fan of energy drinks, and not everyone's going to be a fan of, you know, the pre-workouts. Let's say, for example, you don't like pouring the powder into a drink and having to mix it up. If you just want a ready solution, then you can have it in the can. But some people prefer, you know, the freedom of choosing how much or how little powder you can put into your drink. So they have pros and cons, so it's just kind of figuring out what works well for you. But I definitely encourage you guys to look to invest in some form of caffeine to, you know, enhance and aid your performance on the pitch. The next thing I'd recommend to you guys is investing in a form of a boot bag. So this is just a drawstring bag that I use to just keep my boots in, and it's really good because not only does it separate your muddy, smelly boots from the rest of your kit, but I think it also protects the rest of your kit as well. You know, those metal or plastic studs banging against other things in your bag isn't ideal. You know, you don't want to damage anything valuable that you might keep in your bag, and you just want to make sure that, you know, they're out of the way. And a good thing is as well, you can keep them separated from the rest of your stuff, and it also makes sure that there's no like smelly odors in your kit bag. So I definitely recommend, you know, investing in one of these. You can get them for really cheap anywhere, to be honest. You know, if you go on Amazon or your local sports store, you can pick them up for really cheap. And yeah, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This one's like unbranded, as you can see. It's not even from any like company. It's just plain black, and it does the job perfectly. It's awesome because, you know, you can carry it just like this, or you can sling it on your back. So it's very versatile as well. And I just recommend, if you can't even afford one of these, use a shopping carrier bag just to keep your boots separated from the rest of your kit. It's a very important thing to do, and I know some players just like to chuck their boots in the rest of their kit. I'm not a fan of that because I want to, you know, look after all my equipment and make sure, you know, it can stay in my kit bag for as long as possible without it needing replacing. So just a little thing for you guys, you know, consider when putting your boots in your bag. Invest in a boot bag just to keep your boots nice and safe and secure and out of the way of other things in your bag. The next thing I have is an energy gel. Now these are awesome because it's you know, it contains low sugar. It's got you know, loads of different flavors that you can choose from, and the most important thing from this is the carbohydrates that it provides you. Me personally, and most typically for most players, what they'll do is they'll take one of these. Let's say you're playing a game at halftime, you can have this. It's very easy to eat. All you do is rip off the top, and then you you know, just consume the contents. It is a great way to, you know, refuel the system with that glucose, that energy that you need to play rugby. And yeah, it's a great way to top up and make yourself feel fresh and just give you a bit of extra energy for when, you know, you're putting in a lot of effort on the field, and you know, you want to replenish your energy stores. You can pick them up from a lot of supermarkets. You can go online. I know a lot of supplement companies do them now. This one's from a company called Science in Sport. I'd recommend this one. This is cherry flavored. This is what I like. I mean, there's a whole different variety of flavors. I'm sure you can find one that you'd like. So yeah, definitely try implementing these on match day, as I think, you know, they do provide and give you a little bit of an advantage over your competitors. So yeah, definitely look to buy these and put them in your kit bag. And then the final thing that I have for you guys today, the last item, is a stud spanner or a stud key. Now these are something I feel like no one really keeps hold of in their kit bags when they should. You know, everyone's kind of been in that situation where, you know, you've got a stud that's come undone, or you've even played a full game and realised, you know, like some of your studs have fallen out. These are really good and really useful because they keep, you know, your studs screwed on tight, and it's just one less thing for you to worry about on the field. A lot of the metal stud boots come with one like this. This is from Adidas, and as you can see, it's made out of plastic. But what I've found is with these ones is that they tend to snap off because this handle here is very it's very thin and very brittle. So when you're twisting, it can snap off quite easily. But what I've got instead is a metal one here, which is also double-sided. So you got one with the little teeth that can attach onto the studs, or the hexagonal shaped one, which can also be used. And this is really useful as well. I keep this attached to my keys instead of putting it in my kit bag. And, you know, even if you don't need it, sometimes a teammate might need it, and you can give them a helping hand, and it's really useful. So Definitely look at investing in one of these stud spanners, whichever one it is, the plastic one that comes with your boots, or buying an external one and, you know, having one that lasts a lot longer. But just making sure that you have them when you need them, because they're very useful, and most of the times your teammates will not have one on them, so having your own is very useful. And, you know, it's just one less thing to worry about, especially on game day. You don't want to have loose studs and it affect your performance. So yeah, that's the last thing for the list, and that is going to round off my video today of the 10 rugby essentials that you should be putting in your kit bag. I hope you found this video useful, guys, and there's actually something from this video that you're going to look to, you know, include in your kit bag moving forward. But if you found this video useful, guys, please leave it a like and drop in the comments anything you think I missed off or could be useful for others to make sure that they have it in their kit bag. And yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.